super stellar internet here has caused some issues, and so we're going to just hope everything goes okay. But if not, we'll wait. We can chat. All right. So hi. My name is Christy Robb. I'm a professor at Stevens Point. I'm the K-12 adaptive physical education, and then I've been at I did my doctorate in adaptive physical education at TSU, and I've been at higher ed institution for 14 years, and I teach some in adaptive physical education. Still, I write a textbook in adaptive physical education. It's called Principles and Methods of Adaptive Physical Education Recreation, and I mostly though now work in administration at our university. So I got a big grant to build a big technology center, and I'm the director of that technology center, and then I also am the director of our online masters in APE, so graduate programming at our university. But I still am very passionate about adaptive physical education, and so I teach one class a semester, one in this assessment in adaptive physical education and one in advanced learning. I graduated from TWU. I got my doctorate there. I'm at the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point now, and I'm here with my former student Josie. So I'll let you introduce yourself.
I'm Josie. I took my undergraduate doctorate off and went to the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point. And when I graduated, I moved to Anchorage, Alaska. I teach adaptive physical education from my fourth year, teaching for the Anchorage School District. They teach 3 to 22. So I've been doing this for 4 years. And
Yeah, how many schools?
I service 11 schools. And kind of Alaska's acreage is kind of spread out, so it's kind of a big range of travel time, but anywhere from 3 to 5 schools a day. Yeah, with varying disabilities from physical to cognitive. Fortunately, Alaska has a high population in fetal alcohol syndrome, so I have a lot of kids with that on my caseload. We see just about everything.
And so raise your hand if you're a student. Thanks for being here. To me, you're the most important person. Just being here as a student is like female that I feel to be better than my Thanks for being here. And then current practitioners, take home. Awesome. And then one higher ed. So what I'm going to show you today is basically 3 pockets of things. So we've got basic Google apps, right? So we've got Google Docs, Google Forms, Google Sheets are the most commonly used ones. We'll look a little bit at Google Drawings. I'm going to have you tell me in a second how you rate yourself with that. Then we have Google extensions. So these are things that work inside of a Chrome browser. And then we have Google apps, which are things that actually function as a separate app in Google. So if you were to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 meaning I should be teaching this with you, and 1 meaning I'm terrible, I have no idea what you're talking about, how would you rate yourself right now on Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Forms? 3, 2s, 4s, 1s. Okay, good. All right, and then what about Google extensions that work inside of the Chrome browser? Lower numbers there, so maybe we should start there. Yeah. Yep. Okay, and then Google Apps. These are separate apps that function inside of Chrome. You're kind of like, all right. Okay, so my co-presenter is making you feel like you're in the right place. So first, let's get a little bit of. Okay, good. Let's get a little security language out of the way first. So first of all, I want to be sure you understand the difference between using a Gmail account, Google account, and something called a G Suite for Education account. So if you sign up for Google with a regular Gmail account, this is a personal Google account. What that does is that means Google's going to data mine for you. So the stuff that you're looking at, it's tracking. It's going through your Gmail, it's scanning your Gmail, it's seeing what you're emailing people about. Then you hop over to Facebook, and all of a sudden you have an ad similar to what you were just searching or typing about in your email, right? So this is called tracking data mining. Also, what it does is say that, yes, your content is your content, but we can access your content when we want. So there's not a layer of security for private information that you're doing inside Google Docs. Now, if you're doing work on your students that involves IEPs or tracking of their progress, or I'm going to show you a way to take TQB2 and throw into Google Forms, if you're doing any of that, you have to do that in a G Suite for Education account, because that means your school district or your institution owns that content and it's protected. So your content is called FERPA protected data. This is data that's a student record, right? And you don't want to release that. Also, Google will not data mine your work in a G Suite for Education and serve you ads. So I'm going to just get that out of the way first. So if you're doing anything related to student or data that might have a privacy layer on it, then you need to use a G Suite for Education account. Okay. Most institutions and school districts have it. All right. So you all said you wanted to dive into extensions first, right? Now this is going to be awkward. So for me to show you things, I have to sit and click around, which means I subsequently am not going to be watching you and seeing what you're doing. So if you want to holler amen, then I know you're getting it, right? So you can just give me some verbal feedback. Okay. First of all, pop-up blockers. How many of you use pop-up blockers? Which ones do you use? AdBlock Plus? AdBlock Plus? Oh, yeah, that's what we're going to get to. You just YouTube AdBlock? YouTube, okay, so we've got AdBlock Plus, which is a good pop-up blocker. So you can, if you want to get a Google extension, by the way, you just go to the web store. So if you go to the Chrome web store, you can Google that and then search what you're looking for. It will show up. So AdBlock Plus is a nice way to block ads and pop-ups on your web page. You can turn it on and off if something doesn't load like you want it to load, and now you're not getting a bunch of ads popping up, right? But I want another layer of tracking security because AdBlock Plus doesn't give me all of the tracking blocking that I want. So I use an extension called Privacy Badger. This is a really, really good extension. You can, again, disable it. You will find if you go to some websites, they might, all of a sudden you might not see something you want to see because Privacy Badger or AdBlock Plus is blocking it. So then you can just disable it for that site. And also you have an ability in these to, so you can see how many trackers are following you, to click and just turn specific things on and off. So it's, you're not unblocking the whole thing, just some of it.
If you sign into your school Gmail account, does that privacy still carry through?
So, yeah, that's an excellent question. So what a lot of people don't realize is that if you sign into Chrome, then that's giving you the activity, the blocking, and all of these extensions are going to work. The place you do that when you open a new Chrome browser is going to be at the top. If you're not signed in, you're going to get this little blank person up there. And then if you sign in, all of your bookmarks and all of your extensions will show up. So you're not going to get, unless you're signed in and you don't have that extension running, you're not going to get that layer of security.
Do you still need the pop-up blockers though?
If you're signed into Gmail?
Yeah.
Yeah, your Gmail functions inside of your browser. Yeah. Okay. There's a couple simple ones here. I love the cloudy calculator because often I'm sitting and I'm doing calculations. If I want to look at percentages of a student level of attainment, then I'll start entering in some of my calculations. It's so much easier for me to pull it up here than to do it on my phone because it remembers it. And I can just, I don't have to go back in and do it again. I can just go, oh yeah, what was that number? And then I scroll up and down. So some of these extensions that I'm sharing with you, you might be going, oh, that would be good for my personal life, which is good. You know, like these are administrative extensions. They may not be quite as fantastic for your APE life. Which brings me to this one, which I actually love. There's one called Time Stats. All about time management. And so for me, this tells me how much time I'm spending on which website. And so it is following me on which websites, and then I'm able to see when where I'm wasting my time. And
Notice the top three.
Google. You came to the right session. I have a couple of websites, and in an extension I'm going to show you in a minute. You'll see my two weakness website. The two weakness website that I have an extension that helps me control that. But this one gives me good feedback. As a college professor, what I ask my students to do for an extra credit assignment is submit to me their report after week studying. So then I can see and they can reflect on how much time they're spending on different websites.
Cloud calculator, can you label the calculations or is it only numerical?
Talk to me a little bit more about what you're envisioning.
So how you say you can go back and track it, can you like say like
categorize and save that calculation?
Yeah, because it saves it. Can you label it so you know like instead of it just being random?
What it was? Yeah, no, it's just random
Okay.
numbers. Yeah, that's a great question. You should make that up. Okay, the next one for is called Dayboard. So let me go to my settings here. First of all, you'll see if I open a new tab, my Dayboard shows up. So this is my to-do list, right? I have that scheduled in my Dayboard. If I go to my Dayboard, I'll show you what these settings are here that I'm allowed to. I have a couple blocked sites, and I can even say which days of the week and how much time I want to give myself with those sites. So I control it, yeah. So this is self-regulation, right? So I can say I want to block myself. So then we also have refocus tabs. So I can actually set it so that if I go to one of these websites, I'll get a pop-up that comes across my screen. It'll go ding, and it'll say, work on your presentation. So then I'm like, okay, fine. So this is, it really, I like Dayboard. I actually enter in my to-do list every day, and you can even enter them in for upcoming days. So if I look at my tasks, then I can add my tasks in here, go through the days and enter in tasks that I have for each one, and it's just going to remember those and remind me about them while I'm on the internet. Isn't that cool? No, so, that's a great question. So everything that I'm showing you here are Chrome extensions. So they work inside of a Chrome browser, and they're not an app. That's going to work in your app. Right. On your computer. So it's a good question. When you open Chrome on your iPad as an app, you don't get all of your extensions showing up to function in a mobile device. Yeah, it would be. Okay, so this next one is going to be good for those of us. Let's say that you either do and we're going to have to show this to you in a funky way here for a minute, but you either do this, let me get to a website. Let's say that you're giving a workshop for your school district, or if you're a college professor and you're teaching your students, then there's something called Google Tone, and it's extension. And what I'm going to unplug here for a minute just so you can hear it, and Josie's going to show her screen. So I went to this website, and I want Josie to also go to this website. So I'm going to click this. You might have to come closer, Josie. Oh, it's saying mine's not loud enough. I think it's because I was just plugged into the thing. This works at a longer distance. I think it's because I'm confusing it by plugging and unplugging this device, this projector here. What happens is a pop-up comes on Josie's screen, and she clicks it, and it takes her right to her. There it is. See, they all just came through. It's the Wi-Fi. That's what the problem is. Yeah. So I have this enabled. Anybody who has it enabled on their device, when I hit that button, it sends that tone. And it will come on your device that says, Christy wants you to go to this website. And you click it, and that website shows up. So no more like, let me send you a link. And here, copy this link. Yeah. Google Tone. Isn't that cool? I'm so glad you guys are having fun. Okay. I'm telling you, those are kind of late. There's one back here having a good time. We saw it. Wine. Josie found the wine. Josie's gonna get the wine. We're from Wisconsin. Oh, vodka. All right, let's see how well you answer this one. I sit here to show you some of these. There's a couple of extensions. Josie, put your pen down. There are a couple of. I hate pen. There's a couple of extensions that are really good for accessibility. So we've got switches X. So if I highlight this button, I have to unplug for you to hear. Try it again. Reading it to me, what I highlighted. Yeah, so let me tell you names. So that one's called, isn't that cool? This one's called Speak It. Speak It. So S-P-E-A-K. Oh, you can't see. I'm like, look, right here. S-P-E-A-K-I-T exclamation point. I'm not putting it in yet because I have one more thing I want you to listen to. And Speak It is one word. And keep in mind, I'm recording all of this. And so I'm going to post it. You can go back and rewatch it. Okay, so the next one is called, it's called Read Aloud. Read Aloud. And it actually, instead of selecting all of the text, it will just read an entire page for you. So I'm on page, and then I'm going to hit Read Aloud. Oh, I hit the wrong button. I'm hit read. Cool. You know something else? Not that you should multitask as a student. Yeah. What? You can use it when you're driving. You're going to have your computer open on the side, hit it, and just listen while you drive. Sure, yeah, good idea. There you go. Oh, we're getting there. I will show you that in a minute.
Don't excite her.
I'm telling you, I'm going to break one line. It's open. That line is open. We're like ready to go. Those of you who came late, there's wine in the room. Okay, so then, oh, look at these. These are cool. So this one is called Just Read That. Lots of all the other crap on a website. So you can just read what's there. Just read? Yeah. Let's see if it's one word. Just read, let's do 2 words. Isn't that neat? And you can even print out crud. Love that. Okay, so then the next one is called Magic Scroll. This one turns it into like a book. This is a Wikipedia page that has a ton of stuff and content, extraneous content, and so yeah. Look at this how it normally looks. You're like, what do I look at? This is too much, and then you go like that. And you're like, oh, okay. Well, okay, but let me tell you why. I do not. What I do is I tell my students as an assignment, go on Wikipedia and edit it, and you can put anything you want. Let's see how long it takes. So if you want to put something else, oh, good. Here's the same one too. There you go. All right, so that's a cool one. So yeah, if you like something you see on the adaptive TV, just pop on and what I'm advocating for is this Wikipedia page needs to be our open educational resource for adaptive TV. So because if you Google adaptive physical education, the first thing that comes up is who's going to do that? Our parents. So what needs to be there on the Wikipedia page so our parents can access them, because those are the people who are going to really change our kids, right? If they know they're right, that's going to make us have more values. That was totally aside, had nothing to do with this presentation. Yeah, you could. Anybody can change it. Yeah. This app is called Magic Scroll. Is that it? Yeah, Magic Scroll. All right, so let's go back to this one. This is called Visor. I like this one too. It helps you. There it goes. Okay, so you can change how wide it is that you're focusing as well as the coloring that you have here. All righty, so moving on. How many of you use like you want to share Google Docs or something like that? You know how they've got like these massive URLs, and now they have a URL shortener worked into the actual Google Doc. You know that, right? Yes, no? Holler out. Yes, okay. So I, though, like to track. First of all, I like to turn into a QR code. So let's say that I'm on this website. This is a picture schedule that's linked in a Google Doc here. It's going to take a little while to load because we have the stellar internet. So then we go to this goo.gl is my favorite URL shortener. But what I like about it is it shortened it, it added it to my history, and I can grab a QR code from it right there. Okay, so the QR code is going to allow me to then post that somewhere, and someone else can just scan it and go right to that page. I was just going to tell you about a really cool way to use QR codes. Real quick.
Oh, so for like visual schedules, pager schedules, what's going to happen?
Do you want me to click to the, tell me where you want me to go. Do you want me to turn the mouse over to you? Or? Okay.
So if you have a kid who has high anxiety, doesn't know what's happening, what's good, and you want a picture schedule, they want to know what's coming. You put this on your visual schedule in the classroom. Each, like my students have texts that go down, so like come into class, put your phone away, go to snack, APE. Instead, you can put the QR code on the APE PEX, and kids have devices all over the place, right? They use it for their toddlers. You put the QR code reader on there, and he can look at that at any time, right? He scans his PEX card, QR code, and then it comes up on his iPad. Well, we're going to do basketball. First, we're going to do dribbling, then we're going to do passing. So he knows before he comes into PE what's happening. Because he already has his device with him. He's got code on or whatever.
And I would add, because I taught no school PE, God bless any no school PE teachers. But how many times did I get asked, what are we doing today? What are we doing today? If you post that at the front office, as they're walking in for the day, and then you don't get it from anybody. Who cares if you have autism or a communication device? It's for everybody. Here's what we're doing today. So all you need is one QR. I'm stealing your I do. So what the thing is, all you have to do, so you create a Google folder, you have a bunch of picture schedules, right? As the semester goes through, you're just throwing them into the folder. This QR code is going to link to the same document every time. So this is going to be your blank document that you're copying and pasting regularly. So you don't have to change the QR code outside on the PEC schedule or outside the office. Does that make sense? Are you all following me? No, kind of?
See, I go back to the QR. The last print that I had, today's PE has a QR code. You have a QR reader on your.
Well, show them how it works. Yeah. Oh, hold on, that's what we just showed you. Oh, to make it, did you see here when I click this extension? See that? No. So the extension is called goo.gl is the extension. You also can go to that as a website. So goo.gl. And if you put in any website, it will shorten your code, your website, but it also will give you a QR code. So should we do it from scratch? Everybody's got like, okay. All right, so here we go. Let's say that I want to create a new Google Doc. So I'm here creating a new Google Doc, right? So here we go. No, Christy is awesome. There we go. Christy is awesome. No, I'm kidding. APE rocks. There we go. Now, this is my sheet here, and I want to shorten it. I have two options. I can copy that website. See how long that website is? I can go to goo.gl, and I can shorten it, and it will shorten it for me. Here's my shortened one. If I then go over here to where I shortened it, I can get that QR code. This is just an image that I copy and paste. That's all that is. So then what I would do, yeah, so the way a QR code works, so she's going to scan it with her reader. She's got a QR reader. Yeah, scan it. Oh, that was smart. There we go. Yeah. Isn't that cool? GLO. Now, but what I was showing you, instead of going to the website, when I'm here, I can just click on my extension and it goes ahead and shortens it for me. That's that website. It's an extension in my Chrome. So, onto this page.
So that barcode will be like outside of my locker.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So to change it though, do you need to keep it as the Google Docs? Or
You use this exact same Google Doc and you just
to
clear it
change
out.
it every day, you'd have to keep it in the Google Docs, right? Instead of using it as a Word document.
Unless you're using Office, no.
Oh, really?
Unless you're using Office 365 and your Word doc is a cloud-based document.
Okay.
So, but most districts are Google districts, right? Because it's cheaper than Microsoft. Okay, so, but let me blow your mind just a little bit more. Because if I go here to details, look, I can see how many times it was clicked. I can see where in the US it was clicked from. Yes, look at that. It's going to tell me how many clicks. I can see what browsers and platforms people are using, where it's being clicked from. Or, yeah, shorten your website for your program with the goo.gl. Send that goo.gl link to your parents to that website. You can see how many times they're going to it. Get who's clicking it? Yeah, so this is how that would work. So let's say that I had a Google form, right? So I created, you all said that you're a little bit competent on Google Forms. Is that correct? So here I have the TGMD2 on a Google form. So I administer, again, this is copyrighted, so I'm not giving you the whole thing, but I administer it this way, right? So let's say that this is my survey, Luis, and I shortened that with goo.gl, and I can see how many times it's being clicked and where it's clicked from. However, you're at Syracuse University, and I have no doubt they have a tool called Qualtrics, which is stronger than this, and Qualtrics does better tracking than this does. Okay. How are we doing? Do we need wine? We have wine. Oh, there you go. You're empty-handed? Like, great. Yeah, so where do you find the extension? So if you Google Chrome Web Store or Google Web Store, it's called Chrome Web Store right here. And so let's say that I wanted to browse, what are some things I can add? If you're a student, you add Grammarly, it's going to correct your grammar as you're writing your papers, right? Oh, what are you asking? Yeah, here. Right. So if you open the Chrome browser on your laptop, so open Chrome browser, search Chrome Web Store. That's where you go. This is what it looks like. Then you can search education. You can search these specific extensions I told you. So if I search here goo.gl at the Chrome Web Store, it comes up, and then I add it to my Chrome. Does that make sense now?
All free, or do they charge us?
All right, good question. So
Everything's
most of it's free, but what you have to realize is, remember we talked about that layer of security issues and the data and all that? When you add one of these to Chrome, this is a third party. This isn't Google owned. So you are agreeing to their terms of service. So what you need to do, instead of clicking add to Chrome, I'm awesome, let's use it. You know where it says terms of service? Make sure it doesn't say that you'll give them your firstborn child. Like, you have to click on it and go, what am I releasing by adding this to Chrome? Because it is then pulling your information. So some of them say, if you add me to your Chrome browser, then that means we are going to own your content. So you have to be sure that it does not say something like that under their terms of service.
To your school account, it has that
The privacy badger
Not
prevents
necessarily
tracking.
badger,
Even AdBlock Plus prevents tracking.
but like when you start on Google and Google Gmail account for your school.
G Suite for Education. Yeah. No, not if you add a third-party extension. Now, some school districts block third-party extensions, and you're not allowed to add them. So this is all a layer. It's going to depend on where you are. So what I'm saying is, don't just blindly add whatever's there. Click the terms of service and read through it. When I click on one, it's going to prompt me, and it'll say, hey, so-and-so wants to access your account. So I don't even know what near bookmarks are. So if I choose add to Chrome, you see this here. A lot of times there will be a pop-up that says, if you add me, you're agreeing to our terms of service. This one didn't have that. And so I can click on it. It's not going to tell me. That's a red flag for me. So I can look at my options here and see if they have, if they're not telling you their terms of service at all, I tend to not want to keep them. I don't want to release my information. Yeah. All right. How are we doing? Good? Okay. So I'm actually using a program called Screencast-O-Matic, and Screencast-O-Matic has a free version online, but it watermarks your recording. Screencast-O-Matic. I paid, I think, like $20 a year so I can have the program, just because I use it for the textbook we record each chapter of the lecture. But then you can use a tool, an add-on that I have linked here that I was going to show you all, called Awesome Screenshot. And that also allows you the other thing that Awesome Screenshot does, if you hit delayed capture, what happens is you can angle your computer at a student doing a skill, hit record, and it will delay the paid playback so they can do the skill and then walk back over and see them. It will play it back for them, like loop it, so they can see them do it, themselves do it, and then it comes back over. Awesome Screenshot. Oh yeah. Oh my God, I love that one. Okay, so there are a couple. We skipped the translation one. Sorry, we'll come back to it. So let's say that I added one. This is one I highly recommend. It's called Make GIF. So if I go to YouTube.com, I have it installed now. So let's say I'm going to type in kicking form soccer. and this video comes up, right? And so I'm like, oh, I like this, but I only want part of it. So what I'll do is I'll drag to where I want my GIF to start, so my short video. So I'm like right here. Then I choose Make GIF, because I have it installed so it shows up. I choose Make GIF, and then I choose Start. I play it until I want to stop playing it. Right? Yeah. And then I hit pause. Now look at this, you guys. I'm done. This shows up, and I can just save it as a file. And then I have that as a saved little file. Isn't that cool?
Not really.
So, right? Yeah. My son says JIT. My son says JIT when he's a computer science kid, and he thinks I'm a old geezer. Yeah. Oh, you want to stitch them together? So you have to use a video editing tool. I have a couple favorite ones. Just depends on do you have a Mac? PC? So do you have Windows 10 or Windows 8? You don't know. Do you? So you can do it easy on Windows Live Movie Maker on Windows 8, but Windows 10 they took Movie Maker out, so they're not having it anymore. So you could use WeVideo. WeVideo would work. That's a web-based tool. So, but here's what's cool. Let's say that you know Google Forms, right? You can create like an assessment, like a question. Let's say I take this GIF, and then now I've got this little video that will play over and over and over and over and over again. I insert that into a Google form, and then I say to my students, it's an assessment, right? Like what part of the foot are they using? And then they can select. I now have inserted into a Google form that you use to assess their level of knowledge of the skill.
How do we get the rest of because that's what I was struggling to do. They're saying that, oh, I'm not I'm willing to train you, but it also takes time and practice to understand.
Let me tell you how, because this is my job. So a big part of my job at my university is to teach faculty how to use technology to be better teachers, right? The only thing that works is I tell them to pick 2 things. That's it. We're only working on 2 things. And so then they're not overwhelmed. Like you sit at a 50-minute session and see all of this and you're like, oh my God, my head is hurting. Like this is too much. But if you go back and you watch this recording and you say, I'm going to pick 1 thing to integrate in the next 3 months, and that's it, then it feels very manageable.
And a lot of them is already saved. So once you start creating all these documents, they're already saved in your Google Drive. So you can reuse them. It's not like you have to remake them. These QR codes are saved.
This is probably a dumb question, but with Google, does it matter working better on a PC or a Mac?
If you're a Chrome browser, it works the same.
Same on both.
Yeah, if you're using browser-based stuff, yeah, it works the same. Okay, so there were 2 other extensions that I just wanted to show quick. This one's called Make GIF. M-A-K-E. You can see at the top right. M-A-K-E-G. I love that one. Graphic. No, I don't think that's it's interface. You guys follow the PDD? Yeah. He talks about Make it. He talks about that too. If you don't follow the PDD, he was fantastic. Gary Robinson was fantastic for a long time. Like I loved everything he was doing, and now he sells everything that he's doing, and so there's less free information on it. And so I'm finding it a little more disappointing. Ah, thank you. Yeah, way to take advantage of Google. So there's also one called YouTube ad block for YouTube. So it'll block ads on YouTube. Do you guys use SafeShare? SafeShare? So SafeShare.tv? No, actually, so let's say I like this video here and I want to show it, but I'm worried about everything around the sides. So if I go to SafeShare.tv is the website, and then I paste that video here, it's going to give me a link to a safe view. And I actually can even say which section of the video I want to show. So I can cut the length of it, and then I can make it private if I want. And now they want you to log in. So check their terms of service. I haven't used that in a while. So the link that it gives you actually has black all around and just the YouTube video, which is nice. I'm sorry. Should I slow down, you guys? Are we doing okay? How are we doing on time? What time are we done? Holy tamale. Okay, so. Oh, translate. Yep. Okay, so translate. Let me turn off visor. Okay, so we have Google Translate app. So I actually can highlight, and I have it turned on. I put my preferred. Oh, you can actually check this, Luis, and tell if it's going to be right. So whatever I highlighted will show up translated for me. How is it, Luis? Need to refine it. So I actually can open in Google Translate if I want, and I can even change the languages that it's showing. And then it can speak it. You can turn on speech input as well. Do you guys use the Google Translate app? You can speak right into it and just hit the button and it'll play it back in the language. Yeah. Non-native English speakers. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. All right, so those were all the extensions I wanted to show you. I was hoping to show you some creative ways to use some of these Google Docs and Google. Let me show you the thing I'm most excited about right now with these Google Forms. So like I mentioned, I put TGMD2 into a Google form. Now the TGMD2 is copyrighted, so that means you need to actually have the TGMD2. If you went to that lawyer session yesterday, which you should, it was amazing. What she said was so important, which is that you have to be following explicit instructions from whatever test you're administering it, which means you need to have that manual on your shelf. Josie's been through what, 3 due processes right now so far in what, how many years? 4 years? That's amazing. It's incredible. And so she can tell you how stressful it is to sit there and have to defend your assessment and your IEP. And
I use this. I created this. This is how you have this.
And so what it does then is it dumps it. First of all, I can toggle by student name. I just click their name and it'll take me to their scores, right? So I can see how they're scoring. But this is what I think is cool. So it dumps it into this Excel sheet automatically. Fine, this one doesn't look very exciting, but I created this tab called Summary of Scores. And it auto-calculates their total summary here and then gives me individual skill scores. But here's what I think is okay, so on the TGMB2, the biggest mistake adaptive physical educators make in any assessment is they go, oh, that kid can't hop. Let's write a hopping goal. But they don't think to question themselves, maybe there's something going on with their vestibular system, which is really why they can't hop. And if there is something going on with their vestibular system, then there's no need to sit and write a hopping goal because you need to figure that out. So what I did was I went through the TGMB2 and I said, which of the skill components, not the skills. So you know how you have like run and then there's a flight phase. And then you've got, airborne or stepping in opposition. So I took those individual skill items And I had it automatically tally for me how they scored on those items. So I can see that there was a total of vestibular markers, there was a total possible score of 22. This student scored 6, which is only at 27%. So then I go, ooh, I need to go back and test that vestibular system. I need to look a little bit harder at that. It does that auto-calculated for me right after I enter in their scores. Isn't that cool? I think that's so cool. 61.
Okay, so 27 means at least according to the maximum score is 100 or 60. 51 means 51% chance that is professor.
100% is he scored the highest possible point on the items that were appropriate subject markers. Yeah. Yeah. Right. And again, I should tell you this process here is not validated, right? I just did it myself. And so you can do that yourself too. And I thought, and this is Luis's idea because he's constantly a great researching brain. And he's like, send them out, get it validated. And I'm like, yeah, it looks good. But I can, yeah, we should, you would have to recreate this yourself because again, it's copyrighted. I can't share that with you because the test is copyrighted. But this is giving you ideas of where to look. And then Josie said, hey, they always ask me for the protocol, and the protocol looks like this, which is crazy, right? So then all I did was just throw it into this format, which looks nicer. And these are just simple formula. So I just said, hey, here's the code, the formula code here. I'm showing you this so when you create it yourself, you can see. All I did was hit equal here, and then I jumped over to this tab and clicked the cell, and it automatically dumped it here. Do you want me to show you, demo quick how I did that? This is just like Excel. So if I want this square to say this item, I hit equal, then I hop over there and I click that and hit enter. And now it shows up for me there. Do you see that? Same thing for here. So I wanted to transfer the score that they got. So you can see that I just hit equal, hopped over there and hit that.
So, like, if you go back to the form response table where you got what's now in DU, if you go in and change it to, I don't know, you change.
If I change this number, yes. So let's say that I manually decided to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And whatever you put there, it will pull it. Yeah. 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 And Josie, you talk about you did this on your mobile device.
Yeah, so I created a little like link that looks like an app on my phone. You save it on the phone as a Chrome extension app, and you what's it called? You just create a little click button, and I open that up.
Oh.
On my phone.
A shortcut. Yeah. Yeah, it's a shortcut.
So this one is purple. I don't know if anybody can see it. That purple little square is the TGM2. I click it. It opens up the form. And it goes like this. I type my student's name. Try 1, I did it. I hit 1. Try 2, I did it. I hit 2. Move on to the next
So
one.
when we purchase the test, when we have the test, like it comes with some kind of computer or something. Okay.
Supposedly, in the next few months, we'll have yeah. Yeah. Yeah, not yet. We can, because they wanted to hit up extensions first. So, and we have what, like 3 minutes? We can do that quick. So, yeah. Yeah, we do. Josie, you want to talk a little bit about how you maintain data on IEPs? IEP goal progress. You have the IEP checklist that you use? Or?
Oh, yeah. So I have all my students in Google Docs. So I have this, their name on top, and then I have their goal. And then every day I just go in and I make my keynotes And then when I have to go to the IEP, I just print that out or I pull it up on my iPad and I say this is goals, this is, plus major, this thing, EMS, progressing. So I have Google Docs for every single one. And in the beginning, it's really tedious to do. But it takes a good half a day to go through, you don't have different case log, but your entire case log to make a sheet for each one. But as long as you keep up with it, so I have the IEP, if I finish that goal, I go in that day, just as I put it on the IEP program, I put that same goal in that Google Doc, so it's just the same thing. It's good to go. So that's how I keep track of data, all in Google Docs, but it all has to be on my education suite, because if it's on my Google Forms, it's open to everybody, everyone has that.
So, and your question is, can you take IEP goals for multiple students inside of one class and enter it in on one Google form? So it'd be nice if you had a drop down, right? And you had 6 different students. So yes, let me tell you how you would do this. When you set this up, you would list your students' names here. Then you go to the next line and you can enter in an abbreviated version of their goal. So if I added a question, I might have options as in progress or number of trials. You could do a short term, you could do like a short entry where you're actually typing in, like if you want to type in their progress, or you do an actual option. So it might be worked on, made progress, didn't make progress. But what you would have to do is there's got to be a condition set that when I select this student's name, it jumps to this IEP goal item, because otherwise all your students will have to have the same IEP goals. Is that making sense? So there's a way to say, go to this answer, go to this other question based on this answer. See how it says go to section based on answer? So you create an entire section for that student, and you select the student, and that would then jump them to their IEP, their specific IEP goals. And then what that does is the data you're filling in there, it's dumping it right into that Excel sheet. And it also will give you that layout of, you saw that when I clicked on their individual name and you had like the bar graphs and for each individual name. Yeah. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Good. And so, good. Yeah. Yes. I put it in a Google form. So it's easy when I just entered it into a Google form. Yeah.
Our manual or protocols rather, protocols, so we have copies of the rules.
That's fine. That was my issue. I was like, and I give them that Google sheet, and they're like, what am I supposed to do with this? So that's why she made this.
Okay.
So this is the protocol.
Okay. Did you guys ask the variance?
We didn't, and that's a good question that we need answered. You're right. Yeah. 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 Right. But then I think about it, and I mean, I don't know, is it the way that it is in your, yeah. Right, and as long as you have already purchased the license for it, meaning you have the manual on there, I mean, who is going to tell you that I never ever copied the TGMD2 and I only use the purchased fresh copies that come in the mail? Like, nobody, right? Have you ever turned in a protocol that's an actual copy of the paper? What is the difference between that and this? Nothing. Does everybody only turn in your protocols of a fresh copy of the one that's purchased? You know, you don't have any copies that are ever submitted?
Yeah. So that's you, is our lawyer. I don't think that was like.
May not.
I don't have to buy more protocol. I understand your point, but I've definitely done that, but I think the last few years we definitely changed it.
And so really what Dale needs to do is market that with like electronic licenses. So you can purchase, you can use this, but I've purchased 1,500 electronic licenses for my district, or something like that. Yeah. We could talk about this stuff all day.
We don't have anything else.
We have. Oh, yeah. If you, we can do that. Yeah, we have wine and yeah, so there is a link to the YouTube channel where it'll be posted in the syllabus. Yeah. And so I should say though, if you want to leave now, I totally get it. Like your head's splitting. But I can talk more if you want to. That's up to you. I do, yeah. I teach.
Yeah, so I just created, I looked it up on here, on your phone, you look it up on Google. The form, so you pull this, you pull it up in,
Well, district.
right. So you pull it up on your, if you have Google Drive, the app, and then you just make a new,
Yeah.
how do we make the Google, oh, well,
What are we doing?
how do we make the Google form? So it's each an individual question, and then.
So I can tell you, we actually did this Google form in 5 minutes, and let me tell you why. Hester, this is what you need to do in your class. You take a Google form open, right? You share it with your whole class in a folder. This is how we made this one. They each had the TGMD2 next to them. I assigned a skill to each student. We popped on the same document at the same time, and they sat and typed in those items. We had it made in 6 minutes. Yeah, it was really fast. And then we... So let me show you how, so to make these, let's say I wanted to do the run, right? So I'm going to choose add a new question, which is here. And I did that one as they're all grids. So I've got a grid here, a checkbox grid. And so the rows are the criteria. And the columns are 0, 1, and 2. Because what you do is, and this is going to be after both trials, trial 1 and 2. That's when you put it in. So you can do a Likert scale. Yeah, you can. You could do a linear scale where you can go 0 to 2. There's no 0. Let's see. Let's 0 to 2, right? But then you've got labels and you don't have the grid layout. So no, that's not going to work. That's how that looks in editing mode. So they just took the criteria, typed it in, and then all we did was drag and drop by order afterwards. One of us had to go in and put them in the correct order because they were just kind of. Okay, good question. So anytime you create a Google form, you get a responses document. So if I click responses, you see this little green thing here? It says view responses in sheets. And the first time you click it on a brand new Google form, it'll say, do you want me to create a new sheet for you? And you say, yeah, create a sheet. And then this is what it creates. And this is it. This is already auto-populated. All of that information is already dumped in here for you. You don't have to create any of that. What I did create were these separate tabs here that I just wanted it to look prettier for me. And I wanted to do, for Josie, I created this protocol. I did this tab this morning. It took me about 20 minutes.
Yeah, but she's a super technology human. So this would probably take you like an hour. How did you get that to just automatically go? You said you would.
Oh, use this button.
I know, because they're all.
Oh, yeah. So let's create a brand new, let's do what? Like a rubric for class, right? So we go more, Google Forms, create, and I'm going to just create this in the shared folder. So then we're going to call this test. And it's going to automatically name a test for me at the top. It should. There it goes. So then I'm going to put name. And it predicts for me what kind of question that is, which is cool. And then I'm going to put what I like. And I might put brown and blue, whatever. So then when I'm done with that, I can view it. And when I view it, this is what it will look like if I go to the link. So if I put Christy and I like blue, hit submit, then it's recorded already. If I go back here, you see how there's one response? It's Christy, I like blue. If I want to see that in the spreadsheet, I choose create spreadsheet. And then it says, what do you want to name it? Name it test, create. Now it put it in there for me. As you have the bar charts were the rating, so let's look at that. We were here, individual responses, summary. So this is comparing students. Jimmy and see how it highlights based on which student it is? Yeah. Yeah, and so what I would do is add a drop down there that says pre-test or post-test. So you're picking that. Yeah. When you're administering. So it adds them automatically as I add the students, right? So you can see that I've got multiple students here. They already are being added to my spreadsheet. What doesn't work out pretty yet that I'm working on, so see, they just adds them here. This works out fine here, like it feeds their information directly into here for me. But what is not working out pretty for me yet is this one here, because technically what you should be able to do is take this and drag it like that, and it'll identify your pattern. I'm getting a little in the weeds here. So if my formula is C2, if I drag it, it should do D2, E2, F2. So each student as they come in will go across like that. But Google Sheets is not working nicely with that process right now. I'm a little struggling with that one. Remember yesterday when you said I look grumpy and you were wondering why? That's why. Okay. Now, can I show you something super cool though? Here we are on so we have something called add-ons inside of Google Forms. So these are things that make Google Forms do something super cool, right? As an add-on. We have them in Google Docs too, by the way. So the two add-ons I like the most for Google Forms, number one is called Form Notifications. So if I click that and configure it, then I can make it so that when the form is submitted, it will either email me and say there's this form that's been submitted, or will email the person who submitted it and say here are your responses to that form. So that's really neat. Yeah, you can do both. So if you click it, you have an email and you say, let me know after how many responses that this has happened. And then this is where you can also email them a message that says, hey, you completed this form, so thank you for registering for our event, right? So don't forget the date is here. Don't forget your IEP meeting and stuff like that. The next one that I like is called Form Limiter. What that means, let's say I have an event and I want to limit this form, I can say I want to limit it by date and time, so the form's going to shut down after this date and time. Nobody can come in and use that form again. So if I have students that I have a assessment that I want them to complete on their own, their PE homework, it's not going to work for them anymore after this certain date and time. Then I also can by the number of responses. So if I'm hosting an event and I have, I've got a limit of the people who can register for that event, then I can say this form will shut down after this many people who have registered. And you can even give them a message. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, crib notes, yeah.
There's a comment section on the bottom.
There is a comment section on the bottom. I'm glad you brought that up, Luis. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. So when we created this, we had a comment section at the bottom and then also after each area. However, what we started talking about last night after watching The Lawyer is then does that become admissible if you have due process? It's then student record. So it's probably better to keep your notes and comments on a separate document. What I like to do is use a speech-to-text app on my phone. And so as I'm watching, I'm saying, oh, I noticed this. And it records it right as text on my phone. So I can go back and look at that.
But once you save it, and then if you turn that protocol in, all those little like clip notes are there.
Does that answer your question? Yeah, you can leave it if you leave. I don't feel like you need to stay. Okay. Those of you who actually think you might end up teaching in a classroom too, just so you know, in Google Forms, you can turn them into quizzes and put in a answer key. And so it will automatically grade it. All right. Are we done? Are we done or you want to keep going? Yeah. Good? No? You want to keep going? Yeah. There's more. You went, yeah. There's wine on there. So we have, did you all hear yet? Okay, so if you have a G Suite for education, there's now Team Drive. One of the issues with Google Drive is, let's say that you join people on a folder, right? And you're all sharing information. And what I see this being most useful for sharing lesson plans, picture schedules, curriculum mapping. Why don't you have that as a shared Google folder in your district? But then if I create a lesson plan, Josie's in my team, and then I'm leaving the district, my lesson plan goes away. And so if you have a team drive and I leave the district, this will always be a member of the team. What's also nice about team drives is that you can manage your members and give them all specific permission levels. So you can choose to give them either full access, which means they can upload and delete files. You can give them edit access, which means they can just edit and upload new files that they can't delete. You can also give them permission to only comment on files, and then where they can only view files. So that's really sweet to be able to change the level of permission that they have in the shared team drive. You all look like
Yeah, the way to get around it before was you just have to you just always
made a copy.
Important things.
Right. And you guys know how to force copy in Google Docs? This is a sweet thing. So let's say this is my document and I want to give it to somebody and I tell, right, so I have options. I can give them view only, I can give them edit access, but I really just want to make them make their own copy. So I know they're not going to do anything with my copy. So what I do is you click at the end and change this edit to copy. Then give them that link. Then when they get the link and they click on it, it takes it and says, you have to log in because you're being forced to make your own copy. And they log into Google and it makes their own copy for them automatically. So they're never dealing with your copy.
Yeah, I have that shared document. But you go in and change my stuff. Like, it was a schedule. I had my schedule on. And I shared it with them so they can have the format. They deleted my schedule, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, that and there's the side thing where you can see what people have changed.
Yeah.
Back to original forms.
Right. So I have my students, they actually do their work. I have them write these big APE reports because they have to learn how to write an APE report. I'm going to switch to my G Suite account here. So I have them write their APE reports, and it used to kick my tail to try and grade them all. At the end, it was just, it was so much grading that I had to do. Let me find one. Oh, shared with me. There you go. Okay, so you can see they're all working on their reports right now. What I do is they have a window that they're working on the report. They're required to share this with me in suggesting mode. So as they're developing it, if I find myself with 10 minutes, I jump in and I highlight things that they need to work on or give them little feedback. Or if I want them to think about it, I just highlight a section and they don't know why. And that way, they're making those edits as they're developing it. So my students who choose to do stuff at the end really get screwed because they don't get my feedback. And so they learn that really quickly that, oh my gosh, if I want to do well in this, I need to be doing my document ahead of time because Chrissy's going to pop in and give me some feedback. And so that's what I do.
Another cool thing about this is I was writing a grant and I sent it to Dr. Rock in a Google Doc, and he's in Wisconsin and I'm in Alaska, and we're working on the same document, and I'm watching her make all the edits and, send her text messages like, don't delete that, I really like that part. We can't have that part. So it's nice to be able to work on it at the same time. Like I can see what she's doing for work and like.
Yeah. And what Josie was talking about was, if I just click on this date here when things were last edited, I have suggesting mode, it's not going to let me get in. Let me go to so if I click on the last edited, I can see the version history, and I can always revert back to another version if I want.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Well,
saving. Like if your computer crashes, it removes to the last save.
it does, and Microsoft Word has a revision comparison. It's called a version comparison feature, but it's not as comprehensive as Google Docs. It's harder to recover older versions. Yeah.
Google's so much better than Microsoft because I can have one document on my work computer. I can go home and pull that same document up on my laptop. I can go into the classroom and pull that same document up on my iPad. I mean, I can be sitting in traffic working on that same document on my iPhone. Just like nothing.
Oh, and the Google, you were talking about driving around, so that if you have your laptop open on your computer, the Google Docs text-to-speech feature is so good. Oh my gosh, have you guys used that yet? If you have we'll see if I can in a second. So if I'm here, I can choose tools, and then I've got voice typing. So now I'm going to be recording something about adapted physical education. So if I'm itinerant and I'm driving from school to school and I need to give some dictation about the student I just saw, I can have this running and do the dictation.
While you're in the course that you made for
Yeah.
goals.
That's true. Yeah.
Data while you're walking through school.
Which is excellent.
Yeah,
Can you do it? Yeah, I guess you could say it in Spanish and then use the Google Translate to translate it over. Yeah, probably. Just move back to Puerto Rico. That's the Donald Trump of you.
Yeah, that one was speech to text.
Oh, that one's voice typing. It's not even add-on. It's standard to all Google Docs. Yeah, it's under tools. Okay, so we can stop or keep going. Keep going. Yeah, you're doing okay if they want to stay late. There's wine in the corner. Oh, there we go.
But we haven't left.
All right, what else do we have? Oh, Fat Cat. So there are also apps that work inside of Chrome, and these are just actual apps. So cute one, you know, you hook your computer up to the projector. You can show the Fat Cat workout, which is Josie's hilarious about what her students are going to do.
Watch this. And you tell me what your kids are going to do.
I
This is
should.
how your jumping jacks are going.
Yeah.
And we're not getting on up here anymore.
So if I unhook this,
Coming out.
you'll be able to hear. There's awesome audio to this too. I think it's because I started it with this has been like. Let's try it again. Are you done? I'll do it. Pour me some. I got it. This.
I don't know how long it's been.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Doesn't it just ferment or something? She's from the area. She's a little bit more discriminating than us people from Wisconsin. So your Fat Cat workout, you can change how long it goes. What you can't customize is this has music that plays, and there's time that you can lag time between the exercises, but you can't really customize the exercises. But it's cute. It's a cute little one. And then how many of you use Remind? Yeah. Remind? Anybody not know what Remind is? Oh my gosh, Remind's amazing. Okay, so Remind is, I could log in, but I'm not going to, I'll just tell you. What you do is you sign up, and this is actually COPA approved, so it's approved for kids under the age of 14. So you sign up, and basically you send a code to your students, and they sign up, or parents, and they sign up with their own device. So you can schedule messages, or even do it as you're going, and it will text message them without sharing cell phone numbers. So they don't get your cell phone number, you don't get their cell phone number. So that's not bad. Josie's finger's stuck in it. Oh. Woo! Oh. Been in there a while. Been there a while. Josie's not done. There you go. Let it breathe some. Okay. Okay. So anyway, here's the thing. What research says is your students, individuals, adults, anybody, are more likely to exercise. Do not put that on Facebook. Are more likely to exercise if they get reminders.
Conference is done.
Presentation. Great. This is being recorded, right?
Audio too? Oh.
So, what was I saying? Oh, research says, that's some strong ones. You're more likely to do it if you're getting reminders. So what's cool about Remind is you can actually schedule that for an entire semester. So here's what I think. You should have mentors at like a high school, mentoring a student with a disability at a middle school, and they're paired up, and they're texting through Remind, like, hey, did you go and do this, or this event's happening in the community, don't forget, or something like that. Messaging parents, here's what we did, here's the unit we're in, or here's the modification we used for this unit, stuff like that. I mean, there's so many ways you can handle it. What are you thinking? Your brain's going. Yeah, let me see if I use this with my college students all the time, and they love it.
download it, the teacher can sign in, or the parents can sign into it, and you can like.
Oh, it's not letting me in.
Parents like, hey, don't forget.
It's an app on your phone. So here's my class, and I can send them stuff, reminders. I also can do individual messages. I can schedule messages for the future semester. I can send them links to things, attachments. I can send photos. So if you have even like your middle school students saying, if you have middle school students or you have the high school, they're fitness buddies, you say, hey, send me a photo of you being active, and then you're not having to use like Snapchat or some social media where there's like a risk thing. Like this is protected, and it's an app on your phone. Yeah.
Where's the video going to be posted again?
So if in the syllabus, there's a link to my YouTube channel, and it's going to be posted.
There's a QR code too.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. All right, so now, I just have one last thing. I'm just going to show you this last thing and then we'll be done because I know your brains are getting full. Any of you use Autocrat? Autocrat? The T, yeah. These people are like, the conference is over. Marcy's on the phone. She's like, they're not leaving. Let me walk you through how this works. Let's say that I create a peer assessment, that the students each have their own device, which, here's a note. Here's a note. I'm showing you one last thing. They all are opting to stay. This is optional. We didn't lock them in. Oh, okay. Sure. Sure. Oh, okay. Okay. Can we just two? Okay.
We can open it back up.
Yeah, you can. Okay, so just really quickly then, this is a peer assessment. I was going to tell you that if you're a lack of devices in your school districts, tell your students, send it out PTO messages. Did you get a new phone? Bring it over to me. That's all you need. Instead of people donating back to the cell company, have them bring their device. You have an old iPod Touch in your drawer? Bring that to me. That's all you need. So you can put your Google form on there. Let's say you did a peer assessment, you score it, right? So then what happens is it gets dumped into your spreadsheet here, right, which we looked at before, right? And then I actually created something, it's called a template with merge tags in it. So do you see how I have these little arrow things here? Student name, run, skip, gallop. These actually relate to these columns here. So when I run the Autocrat, which is an add-on called Autocrat, it actually takes information for every single student and creates a separate document with their specific information in there. And you can even have it where we'll email that directly to each student. Isn't that cool? So sweet. Huh? Yeah. Even as a parent. Individual report. Huh? So, oh, yes. When you run the Autocrat thing, it gives you all these prompts. So really what I want you to do is this fantastic video on YouTube. Just do Autocrat physical education. And it'll take you through step by step of how to do it. I did not make it. Totally pirated. Open educational resources. And the last one, put on your to-do list, check into the add-on called Save as Doc. What it does is it takes everything fed into those Google Sheets. You know how you have those little lines? And it actually turns them into individual Google Doc sheets, so it looks nice and pretty when you want to look at your results. So save as doc. That's it. That's it. We gotta go.